The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, is questioning a decision by the Energy Ministry to engage the services of a Turkish company, Messrs. Karadeniz Power Group and Car Power, to provide 2 energy power barges by March 2015.
We want, first of all, greater transparency as far as the barges are concerned. We totally disagree with a 10-year agreement on a power barge. And also, we cannot see any reason why Ghana government should guarantee the fuel supply and also the supply of power to the grid to the tune of almost $200 million when we can invest that into online generation systems.
Now, the Energy Minister, Emmanuel Kofi-Boah, at Meet the Press series last week said that contractual agreement with Messrs. Karadeniz Power Group and Car Power was aimed at boosting power supply in the country. But the Executive Director of Programs at ACEP, Ben Boachi, says the terms of the agreement leaves much to be desired.
$10 is enough to build 200 megawatts of power plants. Why are you not investing that money into building power plants, which is more sustainable in the long term?
Well, ACEP cites 8 other foreign companies with contracts signed under mysterious circumstances lacking transparency. My name is Stephen Anti, and tonight we're tossing these issues round on today's big story. Well, earlier I did mention that at Meet the Press series, the Energy Minister Kofi-Boah at Meet the Press last week said the contractual agreements were aimed at boosting power supply in the country. But the Director of Programs at ACEP, Ben Boachi, says the terms of the agreement leaves much to be desired. Let's hear the full interview he granted Joy News a while ago.
$200 million is enough to build 200 megawatts of power plants. Why are you not investing that money into building power plants, which is more sustainable in the long term, rather than bringing a barge which will serve your needs for some time and the contract could be abrogated tomorrow? You know, and one thing that surprises us also is that barges, which are usually meant for short-term use, government is willing to contract this company for 10 years. That could be too much of a financial burden on this country, because generating from the barge is higher in terms of cost than a normal conventional on-land power generation. So we think that we should rather give ourselves a break and tell Ghanaians the truth of what the situation is, what programs we need to put in place for us to bear with the load shedding that is going on, and put in place a long-term plan to ensure that in the next 3 years we are not coming back to this kind of power cuts that we are seeing. And that is the bold decision that government needs to take, because if we attempt to satisfy Ghanaians today and come back to it tomorrow, then of course there was no solution in what we did.
Well, energy expert Kofi Poko is joining us in the studio for a discussion on this. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, the name is Kojo Poko.
Kojo Poko, I beg your pardon.
Hi, how are you?
Poko. I'm fine, thank you. Now, you support the fact that this arrangement to bring these barges is good?
Yes, it's anything that would help with energy security. The fact that you and I will not be going through the likes of that we are going through, the load shedding that's currently going on. You see, the bit I disagree with them is that when the minister met the press, what he said was that this was to be a backup arrangement. So we are times when the Akosombo is low. There are times when there has to be services conducted at Tigo and all the other places. And there's going to be quite a lot of like a 300 megawatts going out of the grid. That's when these barges would now be kicked in. It was not something that was brought in as a permanent. Even if it's permanent, it would only go to show our energy security, which will have.
But we've had concerns about cost of these temporary measures, and for civil society groups like ACEP, sometimes they have a reason to believe that this could cost the nation too much.
No, what is it costing us? What are you and I paying for? What we pay for is electricity. Okay, what the average Ghanaian is concerned with is, would I get electricity and will I pay for electricity? What the ministry is doing, and I side with the minister 100% on this one, they are bringing in, they've negotiated the power purchase agreement. PULC, the power regulators, have come in and looked at how much is the power from the barges gonna cost us. It's not gonna be that, oh, in the next 2 weeks we don't have electricity from Akosombo, so the power barges are gonna work, so everybody's gonna pay higher electricity. We're all paying what we are paying, just that they want to make sure that we have security whereby our lights are on. Even if there's going to be load shedding, it wouldn't be as erratic as it is now. So I don't think there's anything wrong. The 200 million that the gentleman mentioned, it's not money the government is paying to the people. Maybe those people will make that money from the power purchase agreement. If that barges are working, okay, the money you and I will pay is what goes towards that. It's not that somebody's gonna pay 200 million to them to go away. No, if they produce the power, then they are paid for the power, and I think it's a good idea.
It's a good idea, but I'm concerned. I'm following from the press statement that was released by ASAP. They're questioning the companies involved. I mean, this particular company, one of the companies with operating a ship which is operating in Lebanon currently, has, I'm told, some operational challenges even in Lebanon. I mean, how did we arrive at determining the efficiency of such companies which will provide us these
things? I wouldn't be able to know how we arrived at that, but you see how mostly things work at the ministry. Look, we have energy crisis in Ghana, and I'm sure the whole world knows that. So if I'm a company that sits in Turkey or Lebanon, and I have a barge, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I have an idea. I can send these barges to Ghana and let it work in Ghana.
And make some money.
Why not? He comes into Ghana, he goes to the ministry and says, look, this is what I have. The ministry will do his due diligence. Now, it's not like we have 3 or 4 of these companies to now say which one will give us value for money. We only have one that approached us. And I'm sure the ministry would have done their due diligence and the barge is here. If there was some monies, now this is where as Ghanaians we should be worried. If there are some monies to be given, okay, government is contracting this barge for maybe $15 million down payment, and payment of $15 million is going to go to a company. Then we'll now say, hey, hold on, what's going on? Because then part of our money is going to go to a company that nobody knows about. But there's a situation whereby they are bringing the barge into Ghana, and it's only when the barge is here that they will make money from the supply, which is the power purchase agreement they've signed.
Okay, let's get to the Energy Ministry. Edward Bauer is a consultant at the Energy Ministry. He's joining us now. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Now, I'm sure that you might find it good news that Kojo Poku is kind of in support of government decision to bring in these barges as backup to our power supply. Can you tell us, really, I mean, what went into the decision to bring on board these barges and the terms of agreement and contractual obligations that exist, since it has become a subject that is of question by ASAP?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. I think that I perfectly agree with Mr. Kojo Poku on the submissions he made. First and foremost, as a country, we have a challenge in terms of supply issues, in terms of generation. And therefore, whatever opportunity we get in ensuring that if you were to walk into your house and put on your switch, you should have light, we will do that. However, you need to look at this particular one and look at the circumstances under which it's been made. One, this is a company that is coming in as an IPP, an independent power producer, like any other, for example, like Asoble. This is a private sector that thinks that there's an opportunity to provide power for us. We, as a ministry, working with other relevant agencies like the EC, that's the Energy Commission, the PURC in terms of tariffs and other things, the Environmental Protection Agency in terms of environmental impact assessment and other things. We have come together to look at it and say, look, this is the amount of money, this is the power that these people are trying to produce. This what we are more concerned about, and that is what is done through the PURC. What is the cost of energy that they are going to give to us? We'll look at the cost and it works out fine. Then with, however, you know that for all IPPs, they would want to come in with a guaranteed off-taker. So yes, ECG becomes an off-taker. But this is a contract that is it's a medium term, it's just for 10 years. And for the 10 years, we have even indicated that the first 4 years, we are looking at the fuel being HFO. Then because after 4 years, our hope is that with the coming in of gas and then coming of LNG, that will bring, even in terms of the capacity charges, will bring it down. And so the contract has taken care of all those factors. So basically, it is just an independent power producer, a private sector, that is coming to supply power and sell power to us. And ours is to buy it at a realistic and cost-reflective price.
Now, one of the questions that ASAP is raising, and you just mentioned, and my attention got drawn to it, you spoke about the fact that initially it will be operating on heavy fuel oil, HFO. Now, the key question that ASAP is asking is that who bears the cost of this HFO during the initial period of operation? Will it be government, or will it be the company into which you came into agreement with?
It is totally going to be the responsibility of the company. Remember, it is an independent, but it's not government that is procuring this particular bag. It is the private sector that is coming to put its bag here and supply power. So for us, as long as they supply the power, we pay for it. Even though, of course, in the off-taker agreement, there are some conditions that if maybe after commercial operations, if you declare commercial operations within a particular time, we need to have some guaranteed availability of the power. And then some levels of the power in terms of the production levels. So those ones are taken care of within and so there are standard things that are found in all power purchase agreements. So that is it. But in terms of the provision of fuel, whether it is going to be HFO, it's going to be natural gas, but there's a plant that can also equally use natural gas. It is going to be the primary responsibility of the company to be able to provide that.
Now, there have been questions also from ASAP about the cost involved in this. The two barges we're told is going to cost over $360 million for a period of 2 years between 3 years between 2012 and 2015. How justifiable is this cost? And Kojo Poku is telling us earlier, right now in the studio, that this will not be an upfront payment.
Yeah, obviously, just as I told you, it's an independent power producer. What they are doing is this. Look, they are coming to generate power. However, and I think that's where the confusion comes, particularly with the establishment of the escrow. You look at the statement that has been issued by ASAP. It creates an impression that for every 4 months we need to put in an amount of money that is put there. That is not true. The whole idea is this. That the company comes in, it generates, so let's assume that it starts commercial production today. It generates power for 1 month. It raises the bill. From the agreements that have been made, the assumption is that it will take about 15 days to be able to raise the bill and for the off-taker to be able to receive the bill. So that gives you another 45 days. Another 15 days added to the 30 days, making 45 days. In that agreement, we have indicated that, look, after the reception of that particular bill, give us 75 days grace period to be able to pay. That adds up to 120 days. That's 4 months. Now, so it means that even though he started generating power 4 months ago, on the 4th month, the end of the 4th month, you should be able to pay the bill for the 1st month. Now, as guarantees as a private sector who wants to make sure that the power that has supplied you will be able to get, he says that, look, okay, I need some sureties that, yes, I'm generating power for 4 months, but you are not paying me, the latest you will pay me will be about the 4th month of the power that I produced in the 1st month. So let's establish an escrow account, 4 months, equivalent of 4 months one. So that's why we have the escrow account that is going to be a combination of the capacity charge and the energy charge that is put in there. So that's one component of the escrow account. The other part of it that they talked about mobilization, that is 50 million. Actually, if you look at the contract has not made room for mobilization. What the contract had made provisions for was that, look, you have told somebody that, yes, I've agreed that you can come to my country and put up a 450 megawatt badge to supply me power. The company decides to start investing in the building up or maybe in the refurbishment of this badge. They don't want a situation where they'll finish refurbishing and do this capital investment, get to Ghana, and Ghana says that we are not ready to take the power, so you can go, thank you very much. So for some guarantees, they say, fine, we need just some guarantee to show that when we come, you will really be able to buy our power. So in the agreement, they have 50 million. That is because it's not for mobilization, just for a guarantee that, look, these investments you are doing, when we come, we'll be able to sell the power.
Right, it's about
that particular. Hello?
Mr. Val, yeah, I'm listening. I'm quickly trying to make you pause briefly, and then I'm going to get ASAP back onto the telephone line because you've raised key issues. I mean, yourself and Kojo Poku here. Kojo, you seem to agree with Edward Bauer on many of the issues that he has raised, including the arrangement for an escrow account and including the
Those are business terms. You see, I'm a businessman, first and foremost. And I mean, I will ask for the same thing. You see, I keep saying on this platform, Ghana is not the most attractive place to come and do business. So when companies want to come here, they want certain assurances. And if it means
they come at a higher cost of operation.
Well, that's fine, but that is where we are. Look, if I want to go and borrow money in London, they tell me to go get insurance. And the cost of insurance to borrow money to bring to London is higher than if I'm borrowing money to Belgium.
That's right.
So obviously, if government needs certain things, see, and those are some of the things that we, the businessmen, has been asking for. Government should facilitate some of these.
You think that ASAP is mixing it up, really?
I think they are just basically using the government as a paniera,
right?
And just hearing it up.
Benjamin is on the line. Let's hear you, Benjamin. Good evening. Benjamin is Programs Director of ASAP. You must have been hearing all the arguments in the studio. The two gentlemen we have, Kojo Poko, who is in our studio, and Edward Bauer on telephone, both seem to suggest that the agreement to get the two barges is good, and that despite the cost involved, I mean, nobody's going to bear an upfront payment, and perhaps ASAP is getting it mixed up.
Thank you very much, and for the opportunity. I'm a bit surprised that anybody would say that regardless of the cost involved, we need power, and therefore that's it. We should go for it. I mean, if you look at our statement, what we are saying is that we are procuring barges to get extra power onto the grid, which is fine. Nobody has an issue with that. In fact, if you look at our press statement in June, when we picked up this information from the international press, we actually commended government and ECG for taking that step, to do that. So we are never against bringing barges into the country. But this is a country with citizens. And it is the citizens' resources that you are managing. So you are interested in value for money and efficiency in the utilization of that money.
So let me get it clear. You don't think there is value for money here? You don't think there is sufficient transparency for every Ghanaian to understand what went into what?
Absolutely. You see, if you are creating an escrow, okay, and going to put in an amount between 170 and 200 million dollars, does it not make sense to open that up to any investor that will be interested in that facility for us to see who will give us a competitive bid? That is not what we are doing. We are doing sole sourcing and putting our money as a guarantee for a sole sourcing arrangement.
Right.
And that is not value for money.
Right. I see that.
You understand? If you want to create that platform, then there should be competition to bring everybody who is interested in that deal to come on board and bid for the process.
Right, Ben, I see that,
we are not getting that.
Edward Bauer would want to react to something you just said. He's beckoning us to speak. So, Edward.
I agree that I think that Ben is mixing up issues. You see, we are not, the government of Ghana is not going to procure the badge. No. It's like, for example, you are there and then
you're going to procure the badge. I haven't said that. But you are guaranteeing
you are saying a sole sourcing. Even in the first place, nobody's even sourcing anything. You are seated at the Ministry of Energy. Then somebody comes in to say that, look, based on the fact that you have opened up that there's a probability that an independent power producer can come and produce power. I am coming with badges to come and produce power for you. I am coming to produce it with this particular fuel. And this is going to be my capacity charge. This is going to be my energy charge based on this. PURC,
that a new arrangement based on this that you provide escrow for
hold on.
Ben, I'd like you to hold. Hello, gentlemen.
It's important that I explain this to Ben.
Yeah.
You see, the escrow account is this. That was what I was explaining when you cut me short. That, look, the person starts generating power, let's say today. He only raises the bill after 1 month. After the month, he's asked that in the contract that the next 15 days he's going to use it to raise the bill and then send it to you, making 45 days. The ministry, the off-taker, the consumer, the bulk consumer, that's ECG, is saying that, look, give me 75 days to do this payment of your first month generation. That gives you a total of 4 months. As a businessman, he wants to have some guarantees that, look, at the end of the day, once I'm generating this power for 4 months, I would be paid for the power I generate. So he says that, look, let's open an escrow account. Let's put the equivalent of this amount that I have already generated to you anyway into that particular account. In any time that you default in paying my bills to me after the power I've sold to you, let's go to the escrow account and take the money. So it is not money that is supposed to be spent. So it shouldn't be looked at as if you are giving the money to the company. That is not it. Right. It is just money seated there to serve as an insurance for the person when he's generating power and selling to you. That is the understanding that Ben must understand.
Right, Ben. I need you to.
I haven't misunderstood what you are saying. I understand perfectly what escrow account is. And what I'm saying is that if we have made those guarantees available over the years, Ghana will not have any challenge as far as power generation is concerned. Because that is the guarantees every IPP looks for when they want to invest. If you can guarantee the paychecks of what they will produce, then of course they will come. And that has been the challenge that we have. Because the credibility of the off-taker has always been in doubt and in question. And that is why we're even running to MCC for that arrangement for us to beef up the credibility of each.
Ben,
Gentlemen, I beg your pardon. It's getting heated now. Have you pause briefly? I'll get a reaction from the studio.
Mr. Ben, if now government is going ahead and doing these things, then shouldn't we applaud the government? If you are saying that in the past, government has not done it, and now under Honorable Boa's administration, they see fit to do some of these things, why are we crucifying them? Why shouldn't we applaud them?
No, I don't get your point when you say we are crucifying them.
No. The statement, no, you see, the statement being put. Sorry, maybe it's the wrong choice of words. Sorry, sir. Maybe it's the wrong choice of words. What I'm saying is that
there are processes.
Right. Let's get into that.
Which includes that. Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening, sir.
Yes, there are processes involved when you are using public funds. If you are going to use public funds to guarantee an investment, it has to go through Parliament because it is an international transaction.
Well, Ben, that's not true. Ben, that's not true. You see, nobody is paying money up front. What they are saying is that, look, somebody is going to pay something. I think this is simple business. Somebody's going to pay. Somebody's going to buy something. Okay. Normally, it's only in Ghana that people take long time to pay for things they're supposed to pay. ECG, the first month of the power being produced, ECG should pay for it. Really, that's realistic business. I shouldn't wait 75 days
or 90
days for payment. It's like importation of fuel. It's only in Ghana they'll ask for 90 days credit. And it's a similar thing. The government is asking the investor that, look, spend your money for 75 days before I give you anything.
You seem to be solidly behind the government. Is there anything else which is influencing this stance? That you see that despite the mention of lack of transparency and perhaps due diligence, this is good, regardless of the issues that are being raised by ASEP?
What transparency as in what? As the gentleman said, look, I go to the ministry every day. People walk into the ministry every day. You give proposals to the ministry every day. If your proposal makes sense, the ministry will engage you. It doesn't have to be open up to bid. Not everything goes into public bidding. It's not government. Government is not paying for this. What is government paying? Let's ask ourselves, what is government paying for?
Right, Ben, quick reaction.
No, what we are saying is that if government is going to guarantee for power generation in this country, it cannot be exclusive to some particular company.
It cannot be done through sole sourcing.
Okay, so then we open up and tell Ghanaians that this is how we want to generate power in this country. If an investor wants to come in, government will provide that guarantee. But if government is going to guarantee and put money into an escrow, that needs to be approved by Parliament of Ghana.
Because I think that
we are committing funds.
Right, Edward Bauer, quickly. Ben, yeah.
The first thing is that government, it becomes an international transaction if government decides, if government has to give a guarantee for that. This is ECG. That is only trying to give an insurance to a supplier. That look, I'm not, because this money is supposed to be raised by ECG anyway. It is not the only time it becomes an international contract and therefore needs to go there. It's when government is providing the guarantee. Government is not the one providing that guarantee.
But if
ECG, which is a company,
if ECG is providing that guarantee, doesn't it come back to the same place?
ECG is a limited liability company. So it is not government that is doing that. It is ECG that is doing that based on its own books.
Yeah. So what? Are you saying there was no sole sourcing? Because if I hear Ben very well, he's concerned that this was done through sole sourcing when it should have gone through competitive bidding.
I think that because it is a badge, people are looking. Let's say Asogli, this is not an issue, and I think Mr. Kojopo was alluding to that. It is not like you had about 4 companies coming to say that we are offering you badges, and then these are our rates, and on the basis of that, we decided that no, we will not listen to somebody.
You know that if you offer this opportunity to everybody, people want to come in. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't be easy to
but Ben, that is something the government has started now. So let's assume that is the way forward. Let's say all businessmen should take
Are you speaking for the minister here?
No, right, I'm not. But they've done it.
Let's take it one at a time. It's Ben's turn now. Ben, you can go ahead.
Yes. So what we are saying is that this is public funds that we are using to guarantee such an agreement.
But you do agree that ECG is a limited. You do agree that ECG is a limited liability company.
You understand? Sorry.
You do agree that ECG is a limited liability company.
Oh, but all of us know that ECG cannot guarantee this product. ECG's books cannot guarantee this, and Eddie knows this. And that is why the minister has been in charge, because ECG is regulated by the Energy Commission, and in this arrangement, the Energy Commission would have been part of the process. The Energy Commission is the one that's supposed to license any power.
Energy Commission is part of it. Energy Commission is part of it. Environmental Protection Agency is part of it. PURC is part of it.
Edward Bauer, it looks like you're muffing out Ben. Let's let Ben land.
Can you provide these documents to everybody for us to know what assessment has been done, what EIA has been done on these badges,
right?
So that all of us can be on the same page on this one.
Right. Ben.
Because the information available to us indicates that none of these has been done.
Right, Ben, I don't have a lot of time. I need to let you wrap up. I want you to tell us briefly, let's say in under 30 seconds, what exactly do you want of government in this agreement that you listed out in the press release?
What we are saying is that if government is going to guarantee such a product, then of course we should put in place mechanisms to ensure value for money. This company has a history. When they went to Lebanon, when they went to Pakistan, what the Lebanese government, for example, did was to ensure that they provided the fuel for the budget, so that they could use the governmental leverage to get a better deal on fuel for the company. Now, what we are seeking to do is just to guarantee the fuel that they will bring in, which is a lot of risk to government funds.
Right.
We're not guaranteeing it.
Oh, but what is the escrow doing? What is the escrow doing?
The escrow is not for guaranteeing of fuel.
Oh.
Right, Edward Bauer, let's hear you now. We don't have a lot of time. We're trying to wrap up. We're trying to wrap up now. So
basically, I think that it is important that when you have such projects and other things, there's a need to have public debate on it for Ghanaians to know exactly what goes into it. So I do not for a moment fault except for raising the issues. It's just that those issues have been raised because one, and I can understand that maybe ASAP did not have all the information available to them.
Right.
So and therefore, based on what they had, this is what they care.
So
I'm happy that we've had the opportunity to be able to react to some of these things.
Right. So
to tell them that the fears that they have all been allayed.
So you would engage ASAP a little bit more of the platform like this.
Obviously, in fact, the truth of the matter is that tomorrow morning we'll be coming up fully with a statement to answer each of the 9 points that they have raised on this particular project.
That's right. Thank you very much. Edward Bauer is an energy consultant. So, Kojopoku, your final reaction.
I think that the ASAP talk about value for money. To me, as a consumer, the value for money is that at 6 o'clock my lights wouldn't go off.
You think there is value for money in this?
Yeah, of course, because see, the escrow that they talk of, it's an arrangement between ECG and the producer. See, who's the off-taker? ECG is the off-taker. But ECG, like the gentleman alluded to, that does not have good, healthy finances. So, obviously, when an investor is looking at them, you see, look, you cannot pay for this power if I give it to you every month. So, government will now come in and give some assurances. And assurances is on whose behalf? It's for you and I's behalf. So that it will give the comfort to the investor to put a badge in place. I don't like being in life.
You think ASAP is blowing hot air?
I think that but I blame the ministry. They don't give good credit to the issues that they put out for. They put it in quotes. Then people have to go in and
then they expect people to now assimilate it and get to understand.
You know what I mean? If the minister had put a bit more, even if it's on this platform that we asked the minister that is the government procuring or government is only facilitating, and the minister said government is facilitating because the first meet the press, they said government has signed contract to bring in.
Right.
It made it sound like.
I'm afraid our time is out and we have to wrap it here, and then we'll return with an interactive segment shortly. My name is Stephen Anti, and thanks for staying.